Hello everyone, it's Sunday evening, it's story time. GBR Unleashed is out. It's been out a week now. Thank you to all those who bought it. We've had some incredible feedback. It's available on Amazon, WH Smith's, but I thought I'd read you another little story, a little segment of a story. Mike and I are on GMB tomorrow morning to talk about the book and various other things, but this is a story taken from the World Cup, Japan 2019. The 2019 World Cup in Japan was an amazing experience. I lived in Japan, having played for Tokyo's Ricoh Black Rams in 2011, 2012. But the World Cup was a chance to travel the country and really get to know the place. We were there for almost a month, attending games, recording the podcast, hosting events in bars and drinking far more than was healthy. There were times when I thought I might die, and Justin Marshall almost did. The tournament lasted for 43 days and he was on the piss for 40 of them. He only took those 3 days off because he went down with glandular fever, which only took him down for a day before he dosed himself up and was back out on the piss again. Tins and I did 22 days straight, including the time he went out for breakfast on a Tuesday and got back to the hotel on a Friday night. Very early on, we had what we thought was the brilliant idea of following every Asahi lager with a sake chaser, but that turned out to be a recipe for disaster, as anyone who has seen monumentally drunk Japanese men at post-work drinks would have already known. We nicknamed the drink combo a Dragon Ball. You would think after the first hangover from hell that we would abandon the combo, but we felt it had legs and that with the right balance, it was a powerful combination. We are yet to find the balance. One night, we all went to a restaurant that one of Payno's mates had recommended. We knew it was probably a bit expensive because this guy owns something like 130 pubs in the UK, and most of Payno's mates have quadruple-barreled names like Ambrose, Bertram, Waddle Dudley. When you spend time with Payno, it's like an afternoon around Jacob Rees-Mogg's house. We were hugely unprepared for how weird this meal out was going to be. The first thing I saw when I walked in were two fat blokes dressed as samurai warriors sitting on an island counter surrounded by pots and pans and a huge moat of water. The diners were arranged in a square around the island, and the two samurai would cook whatever we ordered right in front of us before serving it up. However, they didn't just serve up the food and drinks, they had to deliver it on what looked like huge wooden pizza servers with long handles to cross the moat of water. You see them being used in Italian restaurants to take pizzas out of the oven, except these were bigger and longer. They would load them up, then hold them out, and you would take off the proffered items and they would retract them until they needed to serve something else. We decided among ourselves that it would be a good plan to start with some Dragon Balls. We let one of Payno's mates, Roderick or Rupert, I forget his name, make the order for sake. Let's go with Roderick. He was wearing head-to-foot tweed, and I mean head-to-foot. He had tweed shoes, socks, trousers, shirt, jacket, and a hat, all made of tweed. It was an impressive sight. He put on his monocle, surveyed the sake list, and made some incomprehensible posh noises, sounding like Brian Madundy from Face Jacker, which I can only assume was from years of inbreeding. I bet his family tree resembled a wreath rather than a tree. We had to get Payno to translate the order as he speaks Etonian, which he duly did. I should have known that it was expensive when the maitre d' took in a sharp intake of breath and rushed off smiling and positively vibrating with happiness. 5 minutes later, they dimmed the lights, a gong sounded, a puff of smoke erupted from a doorway, and this bloke appeared like a genie from a lamp in full ceremonial outfit, including a huge headdress adorned with gems and feathers. He carried a hand-carved wooden box, which he set down and opened, revealing an ornate green bottle carved in the form of a geisha. He then opened the bottle with a massive samurai sword. Then, just like that, there was another puff of smoke. He disappeared and the lights went up. Everyone was watching us with newfound respect. The sake was served and went down a storm, with all the lads except Tins, who'd had enough by then. The sake was so good and worked so well with the beer that about 10 minutes later, we had to go through the whole rigmarole again. Lights dim, smoke bellowing, swords flying, gong sounding. Meanwhile, the fat lad on the island kept playing silly buggers. Whenever I ordered a beer, he placed it on the wooden spatula, held it out for me to take. When I went to take it, he would move the board and I couldn't get it. That old trick. It was funny. I mean, the other Japanese diners thought it was fucking hilarious. Honestly, for them, it was like the greatest thing they'd ever seen. I mean, I laughed the first time. The second time he did it, I smirked. And by the 8th time, the joke had really worn thin. Half the other diners were on the floor, unable to move with laughter, and some of them were pointing at me and mugging me off. Payno was saying, "Breathe, James, calm down." As I was about to dive into the moat, swim over and insert this sake bottle where it hurts into this Rick Waller lookalike's anus, when the chef must have read the room, or Payno's imploring looks, which involved him mouthing, "Please stop, please stop, and giving him the chop gesture over his own throat. The international signals will cut it out. As he offered up the beer for me to take, on the 9th time of asking, the chef had no idea how close he was to getting a samurai sword through the derby. There's more to that story. Buy the book now, check it out. Thank you to all those who've done it. There's a link in my profile, link in my stories. I'll catch you all on GMB tomorrow.